AITA for exposing my dad's secret family at my mom's birthday dinner. So, buckle up, Reddit, because my family just went full telenovela last weekend and I genuinely don't know if I'm the villain or the whistleblower. I'm Maya, 27F. My parents, Ellen, 55, and Frank, 58, have been married for 32 years. My sister Jenna, 24, still lives at home, and I moved out 5 years ago when I got a job 2 hours away. We've always been loud but loving, the kind of family that argues about politics over dinner but hugs before dessert. Or at least we used to be. For context, my parents hit a rough patch last year. Dad was traveling for work a lot. Mom cried quietly in the laundry room a lot. Nobody said the word affair, but the air in that house smelled like it. Anyway, last week was Mom's 55th birthday, and she wanted a big dinner at our house, just close family and a couple of her church friends. She said it was to celebrate second chances. I thought that was suspiciously poetic, but I was happy to come. I arrived Saturday afternoon to help decorate. Jenna was in full event planner mode, bossing me around about balloons. Dad was in the kitchen acting like Gordon Ramsay on espresso, barking about rosemary and pan sauce. Mom looked nervous happy, the same way you look when you're hosting and also expecting emotional shrapnel. Dinner starts at 6. Guests trickle in. There's laughter, wine, and a weird brittle peace. Around 7, the doorbell rings. Mom asks me to get it. Standing there is a girl, maybe 22, pretty, overdressed for a family dinner, clutching a tiny purse like it contains nuclear launch codes. "Hi," she says. "I'm looking for Frank Turner." I freeze. That's my dad." Her smile falters. "Oh, then, I guess you're my sister." She says it like she's testing the sound. My brain blue screens. Behind me, Dad appears in the hallway holding a carving knife, his face draining color like a time-lapse of a dying rose. Mom comes next, confused, smiling politely at the stranger. Jenna's head pops up over the banister like she's watching reality TV. The girl says, "My name's Lydia. Frank's my dad." That's when the room collectively forgets how to breathe. Mom drops her glass. Jenna whispers, "What the actual?" Dad says, "Lydia, you weren't supposed to." Lydia starts crying. Mom said I had a right to know. Guests start pretending to check their phones, slowly migrating toward the door like sheep sensing a storm. I take Lydia into the living room and hand her tissues. She looks at me with those same green eyes as Dad and says, "He told us he was divorced. For 15 years. My stomach goes weightless. 15 years. I was 12 when he started. I glance toward the dining room. Mom is standing absolutely still, hands shaking, staring at Dad like she's finally reading subtitles to the movie she's been watching for decades. Dad opens his mouth, but no sound comes out. Then Jenna, beautiful, reckless Jenna, slaps the table and says, "Well, happy fitting birthday, Mom." That's where I'll pause ready, because the next 30 minutes of that dinner felt like surviving an earthquake inside a soap opera. Part 2. The Dinner Erupts Update. 2 days later, so last time I left off, my dad's secret daughter showed up at my mom's 55th birthday dinner and announced herself like she was dropping plot twists for dessert. The guests bailed. My mom's mascara did not survive. My dad looked like he wanted to crawl into the oven. And me? I was holding a box of tissues and 1,000 questions. Let's rewind 30 seconds. After Lydia said she was my sister, Dad just stood there clutching the carving knife like an ironic prop. Mom whispered, "Frank?" in the tone that's half disbelief, half dread. He didn't answer. He just sighed like he was too tired to keep lying. "I can explain," he said, "the international language of the doomed." Jenna shot back, "Don't bother. We can Google how to explain secret family later." The whole room was thick with that electric pre-storm silence. Mom finally said, "Is it true?" He nodded once. That tiny motion cracked something invisible in the house. It wasn't a loud break, more like a deep one, tectonic and permanent. Mom didn't cry right away. She just turned to Lydia, voice calm and eerily polite. "Sweetheart, would you like some water?" Lydia's lip trembled. "I didn't mean to ruin anything. I just wanted to meet you all." That was the moment my heart broke for her too, because even though she detonated our family, she was still just a kid caught in Dad's lies. Mom led her to the kitchen. Jenna followed like a bodyguard. I was left with Dad, who muttered, "This wasn't how I wanted it to come out." I snapped. "How exactly did you want it to come out, Dad? A slideshow? A PowerPoint labeled Meet My Bonus Family?" He rubbed his temples. "You don't understand. Your mother." "Don't," I said. "You don't get to blame Mom for your second life." He finally dropped the knife, sat at the table, and covered his face. "It just happened. I met her mother at a conference. It was supposed to be nothing. Then she got pregnant. I wanted to tell Ellen, but then you were in high school. Jenna was a baby, and every year it got harder." I laughed, but it came out sharp. 15 years of harder, huh? Then Mom came back in. Calm, almost eerily so. "She's gone home. Her mother's waiting outside. I thanked her for coming." Jenna's jaw dropped. "You thanked her?" "She didn't do this. He did." And that's when the calm cracked. Mom turned to Dad, still holding the dish towel like a flag of surrender that she refused to wave. "How many birthdays did you miss because of her? How many nights did I sit here wondering why your phone was always on silent?" Dad whispered, "Please, Ellen." But Mom was already walking to the hallway. She came back holding his overnight bag, already packed. Go, she said. You wanted 2 families? Go pick one. He stood up, half protesting, half relieved. And here's the kicker, Reddit. As he left, his phone buzzed on the counter. Reflexively, I glanced at the screen. A message preview from M, it said. She wasn't supposed to find us yet. I picked it up. Who's M? I asked. Mom stared at him. Jenna took a step forward. Dad stammered. That's her mother, Melissa. Jenna snorted. Unbelievable. He alphabetized his affairs. But when he walked out, Mom whispered, No, Melissa wasn't Lydia's mom. Lydia said her mom's name was Claire. That's when we all realized there was more. Because Dad didn't have a secret family. He had 2. Part 3. The phone, the photos, and the fallout. All digital receipts come out and everything spirals. The house was silent except for the faint hum of the refrigerator, as though even the appliances were holding their breath. Maya stared at her father's phone, the message glowing on the lock screen. She wasn't supposed to find us yet. Her mother's hand trembled slightly as she reached for it. She didn't unlock it right away. She just held it, like it was a relic from another life. Jenna broke the silence. Mom, if you're not going to open it, I will. Frank, no longer dad in anyone's vocabulary, turned halfway back from the door. Please, don't. Don't what? Maya said. Find out how deep the rabbit hole goes? Ellen's thumb pressed the screen. Face ID still worked. The phone unlocked with a cheerful click that felt obscene. The text thread was with M. There were photos, dozens of them. A woman smiling at a lake. A little boy, maybe 8, with those same green eyes Maya had seen in Lydia. Oh my God, whispered Jenna. He cloned himself. The messages were ordinary in tone and monstrous in implication. Grocery lists, school updates, pet photos, a parallel life documented in emoji. Frank whispered, It wasn't supposed to be this way. Ellen looked up, and for the first time since the doorbell rang, her voice cracked. Then how is it supposed to be, Frank? Were you going to bring them all here for Thanksgiving and draw up a seating chart? No answer. She placed the phone on the table gently, as though setting down a weapon. Leave, before I stop being calm. He hesitated, some part of him still performing decency, then finally walked out. The door clicked shut. Silence again. Maya sank into a chair. The world had tilted, but the furniture stubbornly stayed level. Jenna muttered, So that's it. 30 years of family dinners and trust falls and birthday cards, all fake. Ellen didn't reply. She just walked to the window and stared into the dark driveway. The wind shifted the curtains. Outside, Frank's taillights faded like twin embers. Then her voice soft. You girls go upstairs. I need a minute. Maya wanted to argue, to stay, but the exhaustion hit her like gravity. Upstairs, Jenna started pacing. 2 families, Jenna said. That man was a whole limited series. Maya didn't laugh. Mom's going to fall apart. She won't, Jenna said. She never does. That's the problem. There was a long silence, broken only by the slow creak of the house settling around them. Finally, Maya whispered, What if we're more like him than we think? Jenna's face softened. We're not. You came back. You didn't run. Downstairs, something shattered. A plate, maybe. The sisters froze, listening. Then the front door opened again. Footsteps. A voice. Ellen? Frank's voice. Maya and Jenna bolted down the stairs. He was back, drenched from the drizzle outside, holding a folder. I had to give you this, he said. It's the mortgage documents, the car title. You'll need them. Ellen didn't move. You couldn't mail them? I didn't want to leave like that, he said quietly. You deserve to know. There's more. Jenna barked a humorless laugh. There's always more. Frank opened the folder. Inside was a single photograph. A woman, younger, standing next to him at a charity event, hand on his arm, date stamp, 2007. Ellen frowned. Who is she? Frank's mouth opened, closed. Then, she's dead. That word hung in the air like smoke. Dead? Maya repeated. Who? What? She died in a car crash, Frank said. 2 years ago. I was with her. That's why I've been driving so much. I visit her son. He thinks I'm his godfather. The room seemed to shrink around him. Maya said, You mean your third life? Frank looked at her, something like shame flickering and dying in his eyes. Maybe. He placed the photo on the table beside the phone. I'm sorry, I don't expect forgiveness, but you should know the truth, all of it. Ellen stared at the photo for a long moment. Then she said quietly, Truth stopped mattering the day you chose to keep it from us. He left again, this time without a backward glance. Upstairs, hours later, the sisters heard the sound of glass clinking. Their mother was sitting at the table, wine in hand, surrounded by paperwork and ghosts. The phone buzzed once more. A new text from M. The preview said only, We should talk. Maya deleted it before Ellen could see, because some truths she decided could stay buried, at least for tonight. So 4. The morning after dawn came gray and heavy, the kind of light that makes everything look like a faded photograph. Maya woke on the couch, still wearing last night's clothes, her head full of static. The smell of cold wine and candle wax clung to the air. Upstairs, she heard water running. The shower stopped, and for a long time there was silence, then the unmistakable sound of a cabinet slamming shut. Elle is already rebuilding some invisible fortress. Jenna stumbled down in sweatpants and a furious hangover. Coffee? Maya offered. Only if it's strong enough to erase a dad, Jenna said. They sat in the kitchen, the morning sun cutting bars of gold across the floorboards. The birthday balloons still drooped above the table, their shine dimmed overnight. It looked like the aftermath of a children's party and a crime scene at once. Ellen appeared, hair damp, wearing one of Frank's old sweatshirts. She looked small inside it, but steady. I called a lawyer, she said. And a locksmith. Jenna blinked. Already? I don't have time to drown, Ellen said. Then the doorbell rang. For a moment, none of them moved. Maya's stomach tightened. Ellen answered it. A boy stood on the porch, 8, maybe 9, holding a paper bag and a folded note. Behind him, a woman waited in a parked car, engine idling. The boy said, Hi, Mr. Turner left this at our house. Mom said it belongs to you. Ellen crouched, voice gentle. What's your name, sweetheart? Sam. The name hit Maya like a cold slap. The son from the photograph. The third life made flesh. Ellen accepted the bag. Thank you, Sam. Tell your mom I got it. He nodded, uncertain, and jogged back to the car. The vehicle pulled away. Inside the bag were envelopes, bank statements, a ring box, and a photograph of the same boy, smiling beside Frank at a park. On the back, Frank had written in a neat, looping hand, for when you want to understand. Ellen stared at it for a long time, then passed it to Maya. You take it, she said. You were always better at facing the dark. Maya felt the weight of the photo, then slid it into a drawer. We'll deal with it when we're ready. For the first time in 24 hours, Ellen smiled, a small, weary thing. Ready isn't coming. We'll do it anyway. By afternoon, Jenna was drafting job applications in another city. Ellen was on the phone talking through mortgage transfers with the precision of someone dismantling a bomb. Maya sat on the porch, watching the rain start again. The world hadn't changed, only her map of it. She thought of Lydia, of Sam, of all the people orbiting the same lyre without knowing each other's names. Somewhere out there, 2 families were staring at the same kind of quiet wreckage. She pulled out her phone and opened a new message. No addressee yet. Just the words. Let's meet. No fathers, no lies. Just truth. Then she hesitated, saved it to drafts, and slipped the phone away. For now, survival would have to count as progress. Part 5. The meeting. A week later, the rain finally stopped. The air smelled of wet cedar and the leftover ghosts of summer. Maya sat in her car outside a small cafe halfway between 3 towns. She had chosen the place because it was neutral ground. No history, no memories, just chipped tables and indifferent coffee. Across from her, 2 women walked in together. Lydia's mother, Claire, and the other woman, Melissa. Both had the same look Maya had worn for days. The stunned calm of someone who has already cried everything out. They didn't hug. They didn't even shake hands. They sat. Maya began. I'm not here to fight. I want to talk about him. About what happens next. Claire gave a tired laugh. You make it sound like a business meeting. In a way, it is, Maya said. We all invested years in the same fraud. Melissa slid a photo across the table. Frank with her son, Sam. He said he was my late husband's friend. Said he was lonely. Claire added, he told me he was divorced. When Lydia was born, he said he'd been cheated on. Maya nodded slowly. He always built the lie that made him look noble. They sat in silence until Lydia appeared at the door, hesitant. Maya waved her over. The girl looked relieved, as if she'd half expected to be hated. I thought you wouldn't want to see me, she said. I do, Maya replied. Because you didn't do any of this. And because you deserve better stories about who you are. Lydia's eyes filled. She whispered, I'm sorry. Don't be, Maya said. We're going to fix what he broke. The plan was simple, elegant, and entirely legal. The kind of revenge that doesn't stain your soul, ruins a reputation. Melissa still had copies of Frank's insurance forms, all signed under false addresses. Claire had years of messages proving he'd supported 2 households under separate names. Maya had bank statements tying it all together. One email, sent to the right agency, would unravel him. But she wanted him to know first. That evening, she called him. Hi, Dad. A long pause. Maya, I was hoping you'd call. I bet you were. I met your other families today. He inhaled sharply. You shouldn't. I should, she cut in. Because I'm tired of letting you steer the story. So here's how this ends. You tell the truth, or I do. Publicly. Completely. He tried the old charm. You don't want to destroy your father. You did that already, she said, and hung up. Then she hit send. 2 days later, the news spread quietly but efficiently. The company where he worked, where he'd built a career on integrity and family values, suspended him pending investigation. 3 towns learned that Frank Turner was not a man of mystery, but of math. 1 + 1 + 1 = none. Maya didn't gloat. Revenge, she discovered, wasn't loud. It was the slow exhale after holding your breath for too many years. Weeks later, she and Lydia met again at the same cafe. Sam was there too, building towers out of sugar packets. They talked about ordinary things, schools, favorite movies, and how to make French toast without burning it. Eventually, Lydia asked, Do you think he'll ever try to reach out? Maya stirred her coffee. Probably. People like him always think there's another version of the truth left to sell. Lydia smiled faintly. What will you do then? Delete the message, Maya said. Some stories end by not answering them. When she left the cafe, the sky was clear for the first time in weeks. She didn't look back. The world had been rearranged, but at least now it was honest. And that, she decided, was better than forgiveness.